Well, I actually grew up right here on the farm, just on Gene's family farm.
Oh, was that right?
Yeah. And that's how I got involved in racing was, you know, every minute I could sneak away from the farm, I'd go up to the garage, which was right there where Chevy's is now, and that's how I got involved in racing. Jim always needed some help, you know, it was either labor or money, one or the other. About time I graduated, or after I graduated in '64, that somehow I got away on a Saturday evening and I ran up to Jim's and I rode in his race car over to Stateline. I rode in the race car. And
while he's towing it.
Yeah, towing it.
Perfect.
That's when I first found out how much noise and vibration a race car makes. Because we went to Pittsfield and then up and went up Page Hollow Road, which back then was a dirt road.
It was flat towing.
Yeah, flat towing. And that thing made noise and vibrated and bounced around. And he had a little seat that was only about...
Old bomber seat, yeah.
Well, no, it wasn't very wide at all, I know. And he told me, you know, keep your damn hands off the steering wheel, because he was flat towing, and I could have... I wished I had that to do over again, because I'd steer him around a little bit, but that was what I remember as my first trip to Stateline.
You didn't have any,
yeah.
you had no racing experience at all.
No,
And you showed up into the top class. What was your first race like? Do you remember the very first time you had to drive a race car?
Excitement.
Yeah.
Excitement.
Scared?
No, oh no.
Not scared.
I don't ever remember being scared in a race car. Not scared, excited. When I started racing, when you come off of that fourth turn coming down to the flag and your left foot was bouncing on the clutch so hard from the excitement, that was the excitement. And there was nothing else around, it was just you and how many ever else was out there, and you wanted to pass every one of them, or stay ahead of them, whichever it was. So, yeah, it was, oh, I was hooked. I mean, I just, I do remember that. I remember the excitement. I don't know if it was the first time we went up there or not, but I'd unloaded my car and was there by my car, and this guy walked over to me, and I knew who he was from Stateline. It was Frank Ruman. And I thought, wow, you know, I'm being paid a visit by the king of the industry. Here's Frank Ruman is coming over to look at my car. And he walked around the car and he didn't spend much time looking at it, which, you know, I'm getting disappointed. And he walked up to me. I still remember his words today. What the hell makes you think you can drive a race car? And that was quite a, you know, I'm heartbroken here, you know, what? And well, 65, I don't know, I know I won a heat race or two and a semi or two. One semi that I should have won, Jim was in the same race, and he told me if I got the lead and he got it through the pack and was behind me, that he'd let me win the race. Not only did he go by me, but he hit me when he went by. Tom Dill, him and I.
You know Tom Dill story? Everybody has a favorite Tom Dill story.
Well, one of my favorites, of course, now this is after 65.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
But
We can open it up here.
Tom and I were feuding quite bad. And one night in a 50-lap race, I knew that Tom was going to get me. So I thought the only way to solve this problem is to get him first. So I did, and I got him good. He ended up somewhere over by the flagpole, and he come back out on the racetrack, and he was going around the inside of the racetrack kind of slow. And I knew he was waiting for me, you know, and he was going to get me. So I thought, well, I just got to get him again. And I did. Well, after the race, Leonard come calling. And he got me and he took me and Tom down towards the pond. And this was after the race, you know, and he wanted to know what the hell was all that about. And I told Leonard that, you know, Tom was, which I think the week before he'd spun me out, and I told him that, you know, I had bumped Tom there early in the race and he'd spun out. And when I come around a few laps later, he was running around the inside slow, and I knew he was going to get me, so I thought I better get him first. And Tom says, no, he says he broke my car when he hit me the first time, and I was just trying to finish the race. But you know, Leonard really loved it. He really did. He gave us hell, and you know, let's not have any more of that. And
Then pat you on the back.
yeah. But Tom, you couldn't do anything to him to intimidate him. I mean, he'd come right back and get you the next week and do it intensely and then laugh like hell about it. Ronnie, one night, we were racing at Wattsburg. Larry Parmenter owned it and ran it, and I was doing pretty good then. And I started behind Blackburn. He wasn't maybe running the best right then, and he said to me in the pits, he says, damn you, you passed me tonight, I'm going to spin your ass out. Well, I passed him and kind of laughed when I went by him, but I wasn't laughing in the next corner. He spun me out. Then he had the nerve to try to tell me it was an accident. He come over after the race and was all embarrassed, and you know, I'm so sorry, Dave, I didn't mean to do that. Then another story was Ronnie would build those sportsmans, and you know, he won everything with them. If he didn't win, Jay Pyler did. And Ronnie sold a sportsman to some guys in Union City, and they got me to drive it for him. And first night out, we blew the engine and had some engine problems, but finally got an engine back in it that would work pretty good. And I started in the second row one night in the feature and jumped right out front and ran away with it. And Ronnie come over after the race, and Ronnie would always take his finger and hit you in the chest. He'd poke you pretty hard, wouldn't he, Jim? And then he called me a few names, and he says, I'll never sell another race car. And you know, Jim told you about one night I'd won the feature, and Leonard came up and set the case of beer down, measured my tire, took the case of beer, and walked down through the pits. Well, he walked down there a ways, and maybe 100 feet, and he turned around, come back, threw the case of beer up on the trunk, turned to me and says, gotcha.
Ah, that was the end of it. Oh, geez.
You were mad.
Oh, I was mad, you know. And I think if one of my crew members hadn't stopped me, I would have had a hold of Leonard. I don't know what would have happened, but I was mad, and he was just jerking my chain.
Yeah.